Hey there, we're gonna try something new right here, which is shorter news segments that may only cover like a single topic or a thing that I find important to talk about, but is not like a conglomeration of all the news of the week, which I will still do. But today I just wanted to talk about this CNBC article saying Google's newest AI model uses nearly 5 times more text data for training than its predecessor. And CNBC seems to have access to internal documents. So for example, it says the PaLM 2 model of Google recently released, announced that Google I/O is trained on 3.6 trillion tokens according to internal documentation viewed by CNBC. So the model seems to be about 340 billion parameters, so smaller than the initial PaLM model, but trained on 3.6 trillion tokens. That is truly staggering amount of data. The largest llama models, for example, have been trained on 1.6 trillion tokens or 1.3, something like this. And they have already said, we train for really long time on a lot of data. And that was less than half of what PaLM 2 is trained on. So there seems to be a reasonable effect of training for longer on more data. A concept which the PaLM 2 calls, I think, optimal scaling or optimal compute scaling. The point here is that CNBC somehow got these details, even though they were not in the paper or the technical report. The technical report of the PaLM 2 paper follows OpenAI a bit in the sense that it's no longer a paper. It is called a technical report, as OpenAI did. The authors are just Google. They do have an authorship table of saying who did what, but it's no longer like a research paper where, there's a bunch of names here. So we're moving into the direction of more and more product. These things become essentially product descriptions and product white papers. Now, as many people on, for example, Twitter observed, for example, Lucas Bayer here saying, PaLM 2 paper is actually nicer than the GPT-4 one, as in more open. It discloses quite a bit more training info and even scaling insights. And that is true. Whereas the GPT-4 paper just essentially said, well, we are better. Our model is big, maybe. Who knows? PaLM 2 still releases a lot of information about, as Lucas says, scaling behavior and so on, and a lot of insights into how they computed, for example, the number of flops here that they need to do and what experiments they did for that. It did not include, as far as I can tell, the number of exact parameters of the PaLM 2 model and how much data it exactly was trained on, which has now gotten leaked to CNBC. Also, other people saying, for example, David Haas saying, I don't know what the big deal is about that. It's quite reasonable to share that. And I agree, but these companies think that's a competitive advantage. There are some takes here. For example, this here is a tweet by one of the main authors of PaLM 2, and by extension, probably one of the main people working on it. The tweet is now deleted, so I will not reveal the identity of this person, but I think the tweet is deleted because it contains swear words, and I think that is a genuine expression of an opinion. Whoever leaked PaLM 2 details to CNBC, sincerely F you. That is why the next thing will be siloed even more. And this opinion seems to be shared by a lot of people, essentially saying like, oh, if you leak something, then they will just keep the next thing even more closed and they will not tell you even more. And I fail to see how that is like a valid argument, because if it weren't leaked, I wouldn't even know about this one, right? You can maybe make an argument because like PaLM 2, their technical report was kind of saying some things, but if we just talk about this information, for example, how many parameters, had this not been leaked, had this person thought, well, I'm not going to leak it because of future ramifications, and you, the general public, would not have known. Right? So what difference does it make that next time they're going to keep it even more secret? It's just that maybe a few less people inside Google know. Well, that is not of any consequence to the rest of us. It's still the exact same situation. So I fail to see that. The same goes for like the Meta Llama model. People being like, whoever leaked it, next model, next time there will be even less. There will be even less open. Probably implying that Meta won't even make the model available like they did right now with non-commercial and you have to fill a form and whatnot. Again, the consequences for the largest part of people on this are not really there. there. I can see it with the llama models more, but this here saying like next time, you know, that information we were not gonna tell you, next time we'll like really not tell you. I failed to see how that's an argument. I'm sorry. I find this one comment pretty good, saying, why are you mad at them and not the people who decided to keep it secret? And yes, we used to have this thing called research, and we used to say, you know, here's my cool model, and here is how I built it, and here is what's inside of it. And people may not have given the model out because supposedly it's in their products and it gives them, you know, they want to sell it because it costs a lot of money to build. But that used to be a thing. So companies are trying to go this thing right now where it's like, ooh, can we appeal to the research community a little bit by releasing some sort of paper, but also keep some sort of things hidden? And I don't really think it's working. And I would have guessed, which is interesting because this is a researcher inside Google, I would have guessed that the researchers would be the one most appalled by the company positions to keep all of these things secret. But it's interesting to see that now one of the researchers, and I'm going to guess this is not a single person sentiment, but maybe a widespread one, that one of the researchers is coming out and essentially agreeing with that, or at least the opinion being something else than, yes, it sucks that we need to keep it secret. I guess maybe the opinion is, look, I've already given you as much as I could, and now I can give you even less next time, but I really don't see it. Like, I don't see it. Anything in the PaLM 2 paper has been explicitly signed off by Google as being like, yes, that is not competitively relevant enough for us to not publish. I fail to see how next time they're going to say, ooh, even though that's not relevant, we're not going to publish it. All right, that was it for this short story, but very interesting take. Let me know what your opinions are. I'm very open to being convinced to either side right here. I think it's a worthwhile conversation, what the sort of second and third degree effects are of someone leaking this. I, for one, think that for better or worse, you will always sort of know these things, although I have been impressed by how good OpenAI has been on sort of keeping the details of their models hidden. I've heard stories and rumors, but I've not yet seen anything confirmed. For example, a news organization like this saying, here are the details of GPT-4, and we have in fact confirmed that these are valid internal documents. But be that as it may, let me know what you think, and I'll see you around.